we are going to put a set of power boards or side steps on our 22 Ram 2500 Cummins. What is up, everybody, and welcome to the channel. Well, we are going to put a set of power steps on our 22 Ram 2500, and we scored ourselves a set of Boost Auto M2 lighted up running boards. And if you're new to the channel, hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. Don't forget to ring that notification bell so you guys stay posted when we do install videos like this on the 2500, or you could follow any of the other builds on the channel. We have a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, and we also have the 2nd Gen Ram that we take out to shows. So who knows, we might see you out there at a show. And you can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and of course here on YouTube. And who knows, if we didn't win your subscription in this video, well, maybe in the next one we will. But this package comes in 2 boxes. And what we're going to do is set up the table, and we are going to tear into the first box. Well, and then we'll get into the second box. But the first box I think we're going to do is the boards, because I am excited to see what they look like. Because we ordered them with the step pad on it and different things like that. So I am excited to see what they look like. So we're going to set the table up, start with the boards, then we're going to go into the box. And what we're doing is replacing our stock running boards. So let me get things set up and I'll be right back. Well, I've been wanting a set of power steps for our 22 Ram 2500, and I've been checking out a bunch of different ones, and one that really caught my eye with a little pizzazz and a little bit of styling, and something that nobody has really in my area that I know of, because I haven't seen a set yet. And we also installed a set of their M1s on our Jeep Wrangler build. So if you're interested to see what they look like on a Jeep Wrangler, I will put that video at the end of this one so you guys could watch the install video on that and a little review of what it looks like. So I've been looking for something, and I came across Boost Auto, and they had a set of power steps that also light up. So let's tear into this. Customer service was great, and they answered all my questions and things like that. So I said, you know what? Yeah, you know, some of the other ones have been out on the market for a long time, and I heard some horror stories and stuff like that. But these are relatively new, and they light up, so why not give them a try? And we got ourselves a set. So let's get into this and see what it looks like. Oh, and another thing with these, you can order these and customize them any way you want. And they have step pads for them to where you can get different color step pads for them. So I thought that was a cool feature, which we added that to our order. And you can customize these pretty much the way you want to. But we'll go over that a little later on how I ordered these and what I got these with, because they come with a bunch of different modes that you could do with these, and that's what made it really cool and sold the deal with me. So let's get these opened up and see what we're looking like here. There we go. I'm just throwing these off to the side. And let me pull up a step here. Here's a little bit of guard, I think this is. Let me pull one of these out and show them. Now there's a green bag and a clear bag. So let me try and get one of these out of here and show you what it looks like. And here's what we ended up going with, was the blue. Let me turn it around here for you. We ended up going with the blue step pad on it. And these are kind of hefty and heavy. So what else is in here? So like I said, they come in, if you order these, they come in 2 boxes. I got a Boostato sticker, a koozie in this package, and looks like a couple magnets here. Yep, a couple magnets, which I'll be throwing them on our toolbox. And you can also follow them on their social medias, which is Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. And I will share their links down below, their website. So in case you guys want to order a set of these yourselves, you can. So I'm going to put this back in the box, and then I'm going to bring up the second box, and we're going to see what's in that box. So this is going to be box number 2. Let me get over here so you guys can see me. So this is going to be box number 2, and this box is going to have all your brackets in it. And this is kind of a hefty box, so quite heavy because it does have all the motors in it for your steps. But let's carry into this one and see what this box has to offer. So this box is pretty much the heartbeat and the workload of these steps. Nice foam packaging here. And opening this up. And as you guys can see, here are all your motors. A lot of nice foam packaging so they don't get damaged here. And they are labeled. So we have the passenger front motor. And we have the passenger rear. And they're all labeled here on the back. So this is going to be neat. So we have the brackets. I'm just going to get them laid out here on the table. Well, here, let me put this box over here to the side. And then I'll... So we have our passenger rear. We have our passenger front. We have our driver rear. And we have our driver front drive motor. And then we also have these brackets, which are also labeled passenger front, driver rear, driver front, passenger rear. So I'm just going to line these up here with this, get this stuff all laid out. Then we have a couple bags of hardware here. And this looks like the heart of it, the control module. Some more hardware and some more brackets. And then we have this box. And I'm assuming on this, in this box, we have the wiring that we need to go with this. And yes, we do. And we also have the wiring to go with this. So I'm going to get things laid out here, and then we'll be right back and start this install. Well, we had all the hardware and all the bracketry laid out, and we did manage to get 3 of the 4 brackets bolted up onto the truck after we took the factory running boards off. And as you can see here, we do have the factory boards off, and we do have the front bracket all mounted up right there, as you can see. And then there's something that I found that would be a little bit more helpful, because on my running boards here, there's one riv nut in one of the two holes that these brackets mount up to, that the factory boards only used one bolt to mount the bracket on, and then it uses the two bolts for the pinch seam bracket. So I'm going to show you what I did so we could use the stud, include it in your kit. And I watched their video on the install on this, so check out Boost Auto's install video on the Ram or whatever truck you guys are working on. So let me show you what I did to make it a little bit more easier for me. So I'm going to take you underneath the truck, and we are going to mount up the last bracket, and it's the same thing I did for the other 3 brackets that I installed. So I'll meet you under the truck. Well, here is what I was referring back to as to where my factory running boards were coming down through here. They only use this one hole, where in their install video you could use both holes, and the way to use that, use this little bracket that they gave you so it sticks through there like that, and that's how you mount it. So essentially we're going to do that, because here is the riv nut, and to get this bracket down in there, we're just going to install the hardware that's provided for you, even though we're not going to use this upper part here, because we're going to use this to fish this down and use this, and then we're going to use this bolt to install the bracket into the riv nut. So we just wanted to make sure that this bolt fits the riv nut, and it does. So, because in their install video, there are either 2 riv nuts in one in each one, or there's none. So in ours, we have one and not in the other. So to install this bracket and just use half of it, I'm just going to put my nut on the one side so I can get a hold of it. And I'm going to try and fish it down through there. And you got to get the bracket all the way into the hole. And somewhat tighten this top one up so you can move this around and it'll pop in there. And then you get their plastic piece and you just screw that onto there. And of course you can't really get these super tight, just get them to where it's snug. And because you go right, I'm holding this bolt up in here, because I realized on the other, you can hold it up here a little bit higher or so, because what you're going to do is end up tightening this one down so you don't lose the bracket inside your rocker panels, and then you'll be able to retain the factory riv nut. So we're just going to tighten this one down now. And because righty-tighty, we are going to put it right there. Everything on these are 10 or 13 millimeter. So we're just hand tightening this for now. Okay, so now I got my ratcheting wrench, and all I'm going to do is snug this up to ensure we have a nice tight fit here and that this doesn't move. And now we got our stud in there. And then what I'm going to do is probably tape over this, because I'm up here in the rust belt and I do not want anything to get inside my rockers to cause my cab corners or my rockers to rot out quicker. So I'm going to get some tape, put this up here. I am going to do a review video on what tape I'm going to use to cover this stuff up, and then we'll get to installing the bracket. And for the crew cab guys, you want to use the furthest brackets like this, and then it's just opposite on the opposite side. And it's a little bit harder for me to do it here like this. And I'm just going to put the nylon lock nut on there, and then I'm going to take the supplied hardware bolt and I'm going to install it into the riv nut. And tighten this as tight as I could, or close to it, to where it's up there. And all you're going to see it hang a little bit, which is fine, because once we get the brackets in here, then we're just going to tighten all this stuff down. Just like that, and as you can see that it actually brought it up some, which I have a little bit more play here to do, but we're going to put this bracket on now. What's really cool about these brackets is that they're all labeled. So this is like the passenger front and driver's rear. And usually this angled bracket here goes this way, because this is what goes to your pinch seam here. And then these nuts that are welded onto the bracket go that way. So we're just going to slide it in this way. And then once we get it somewhere there, and then we take this little bracket here. Now this is going to be a tricky part because I'll have to go to the other side to see it. We take this little bracket here with the nuts welded onto it, and we're going to slide that in here. And then we are going to take our 10mm bolts, and we are going to install them through the pinch seam. This bracket here is usually what you can tighten up because there's not much play in there, and then you could go from there and make all your other adjustments as you go, because you can see how your step will hang down. So you just make your adjustments and then you just tighten them to where you think it's level and where it's going to line up with the front one. So I'm just going to tighten these up now. And I'm not going too crazy on them. I'm just getting them snugged up here. Because I'm sure we're going to have to make some adjustments once the steps are on. So that's all it takes to put one of these brackets on here, and this bracket works off of the front one, and it will come down. So I'm going to have to run some wiring so we can get those front brackets to drop, and I'll be right back. We got the steps installed with the brackets on and the wiring ran, but before I go over a little bit with the wiring, because there's a few things I want to point out to you, but check out these steps. And this is what we're looking like with the steps on. And like I said, I opt for the blue pad on there. That's why you're seeing the blue line. And this wiring here, we just got to tuck this up, which we're going to be doing that here shortly. But let me give you guys a little sneak peek at before we go over the wiring and what they look like. Open and then close them. And that white strip through there, that will light up. But I am going to button up the wiring first, and then I'll show you guys the functionality of them and what they look like with in dim lighting. But doing the wiring wasn't too hard at all. It was actually I thought the brackets would have taken the longest to put on, but it wasn't. It was actually the wiring, and as we go through it, I will show you what step was the longest. But let's go inside the cab here, and I will show you the wiring. Now, what activates the steps are your high and your low wires on your harness. And as you can see right there, we just have them tapped in there. I thought that would have been hard, but it's not at all. As you can see, right in there, right there, we tapped into it, and I got to hook this module back up. I have it just right there for now. I just got to install it back on there, or right there. I just have to put it back together, but this is what I just wanted to show you guys. And then all we did to run the wiring was go through that grommet up there, as you can see right there. We punched through there, and then coming outside the vehicle, let me close the door here. These are cool. I really like them. I can't get over enough of looking at them. I just keep opening and closing the door, and later on I'll show you the functionality of them and how to stuff. So climbing up here, here's all the wiring. Down there we opt for the plug and play harness, so that goes into your headlight assembly or your headlight harness. And as you can see here, it's down in there. Let me get this situated here for you. And I have it highlighted with the blue tape there. That's the harness there. That I put it in blue so I know which harness was what. So this way I knew if something happens with the lights or they didn't work, I knew where to backtrack. But we have all of our wiring hooked up. We also have the M2 harnesses, and the M2 harnesses is the ones that activate your lighting, your sequential turn signal, and your running lights. That's what we opt for. And then it just goes over to the other side. Now the hardest part of doing this, which was, I thought it would have been installing the brackets and hooking up to the module inside the cab. No, the hardest part was the passenger side light. What they want you to do is to disassemble and take out the air box and the air intake so you could access down through here. But what we managed to do is that there was just enough room that we were able to reach my hand down in there to unplug it. And then what I did was access the access panel to plug it back in. So what I did up here was I hooked everything up, the M2 harness, and then I just sent the harness down through here and then plugged it back in. But I think the easiest way to do that is to actually take out your air box. So this way it's a lot easier. It just took us a lot longer to do that. Probably just as long to do this side with the plug and play harness and stuff like that, to install both sides of the boards and to actually run the wiring. So, and that was my choice. But if I follow their instructions in their video, and I will post a link to that down below, so make sure you check that out. You know what, let me give you guys a sneak peek at what it looks like with the lights on. So you're gonna hear the buzzing noise. So here's what they look like with the lights on. So just stepping back here, and that's what it's looking like. But we are going to get all the wiring all buttoned up, and then I'll close the hood, we'll run it, and then I will show you guys what it looks like in the dim light. So that's going to be pretty cool. So let me get that done and I'll be right back. We got everything all buttoned up here on the 22 Ram 2500 Cummins for the Boost Auto M2 Lumasteps, and what I gotta say is, wow, what an awesome product. The wiring wasn't hard at all, but let me show you one tip that I failed to show you earlier, that if you guys want your steps to stay down when you want to clean them or you maintenance them or anything like that, so what all you got to do is open the door and you'll see your step comes down, and then all you got to do is put your foot on the step, close the door, and you'll hear a little click, and now your step could stay down. And then you could do whatever you need to do, readjust them or anything like that. To have the step go back in, all you got to do is open the door, and boom, it goes back up. And then now your steps are reset, and you could do the same thing on the other side and things like that. But now let me start it up for you when there's some light here. Well, here, I'll just turn on the headlights. And there is the running lights on. So let me go over there, turn off the lights in the shop, so this way you guys can see exactly what it's like. Then I'll come in, do a little startup, because I want to show you something. So this is what we're looking like in a dimly lit area. It is dark outside, so I'm going to do is illuminates the ground very well. So I'm going to turn the lights off and then start the truck up, and then I'll show you guys a few things. Lumasteps M2 are installed on our 5th gen RAM. Awesome product. I believe that they are the best aftermarket powered side steps out there that you could get. This is the only one so far that I've found that has the light function inside. And as you've seen, we had the sequential turn signal, hazard lights, running lights in it. And I believe that there's a startup sequence in there too. So when you hit the button, it starts up, the lights come on, and this and that. Install wasn't that hard, but like I said earlier in the video, the hardest part was the wiring on that one headlight over there, because I just didn't want to take everything apart, so I kind of did it the hard way. But trying to get it to be a shortcut, which probably wasn't really a shortcut because it took me quite a bit of time. I think that's spent much time in that corner over there as I did anywhere else on the truck installing the boards and stuff like that. So definitely check out Boost Auto down below. Awesome product, awesome company to work with. They stay in touch with you. They answer all your questions. So if you have any questions or tech or anything like that, they'll point you in the right direction. And they have a bunch of different products. They started color matching their products. So if it's something you want from them that is color matched, definitely check it out and check them out and give them a call and see what they could do for your paint code or factories. I know it's not a problem. So once again, I hope this video guys help you guys out in choosing a set of power steps for your build that you got going on. This build is coming along great. We're going to get it out to some shows. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and here on YouTube, where I do most of my social media and a lot of my videos and how-tos and product reviews and things like that. Hopefully I'll see you guys out there in the show field. Definitely check Boost Auto out in the description below. I'll put a link to their install video and to their website on how you guys could get yourself a set of power steps or just check out some of their products. Well, hopefully see you out there. Till next time, I'm Joe. Driving trucks and hunting bucks is how I roll with Wicked Fabz.